So here we go. How can you develop if y is tangent of x, and how do you find the derivative of tangent? Sine over cosine, and then use quotient rule. Y prime then is low d high minus high d low over e all square of what's below. So, what does the numerator come to? Cosine squared plus sine squared is what? Let's see. Helmut, what's cosine squared plus sine squared? What? 1. Thank you. Sorry, I'm deaf. 1 over cosine squared is fine, but the more common form is secant squared. The derivative is secant squared. I'm saying u because it doesn't have to be x. It could be a chain rule kind of problem. So, for example, if I said, what's the derivative of tangent of e to the x, what's the derivative? 2 secant squared of e to the x times e to the x via chain. Okay. So you could be anything inside. It doesn't have to be an x. It could be any function. Okay. By the same token then, I hope you saw that cotangent's derivative was the derivative of cosine over sine. Same kind of chain, but because the signs work out different, this is actually negative cosecant. All right? Pause for understanding here. If you haven't understood this about this class yet, then you will shortly do so. In this class and on the AP test, you're often expected to put 2 or more ideas together. In fact, if you look at an AP test, multiple choices, of the 45 multiple choices, roughly 25 involve 2 or more concepts put together in a question. It is expected that you can mash stuff up. So, say you're given that question. What is this called, first of all? It's called what kind of integral? A definite integral. It's a definite integral because it's area over a defined region. What's the 2 steps to evaluating a definite integral? Integrate or anti-differentiate. Say what is the antiderivative of that, and then evaluate at the upper minus the lower. What's the antiderivative of that? Cotangent of u. We just said that cosecant squared negative is the derivative of cotangent. So we know that the antiderivative is cotangent. That would mean cotangent of pi over 2 minus cotangent of pi over 4. What's the cotangent of pi over 2? If you like, consider cosine over sine. It is 0. And cotangent of pi over 4 is 1. And so our answer to this is negative 1. Now visually what I just found is that the cotangent curve has asymptotes here. Negative 1? That's not, this is, wait a second, why am I getting a negative? That's not. Oh, that's because I didn't find the area under cotangent, you dummy. I found the area under cosecant negative. My bad. Sorry. No, that makes sense. Okay, how about secant? What did you take the derivative of? 1 over cosine. When you say 1 over cosine, did you use the quotient rule, or did you call it cosine to the negative 1 and use the chain rule? Quotient rule or chain rule? Or both? Chain rule, quotient rule, either way, say I use the chain rule. Y prime is, derivative of the outside is negative 1, dropping to the negative 2. Derivative of the inside is negative sine u, which would become something like sine u over cosine squared u. The negatives would drop away. That's a fine, fine derivative, and yet not the typical form. The typical form is to call this sine over cosine and 1 over cosine. And your final form is, sine over cosine is tangent u, and 1 over cosine is secant u. The derivative of secant is secant tangent. It's its own derivative plus some. All right, so my friends, what are the critical numbers of y equals secant 2u on, let's define it, on negative pi over 2 to pi over 2, not inclusive. So how do you find critical numbers? Okay, you take the derivative. You normally start with the domain, but I gave you the domain. So what is the derivative of secant of 2u? Chain rule. Secant of 2u, tangent of 2u. I am putting this secant tangent. I typically call it secant tangent first. I don't know why I do that. Secant 2u, tangent 2u, times the derivative of the inside? 2. Okay. You want to know this is where this is 0 or undefined, yeah? It might help to call it this. I don't know. Sine of 2u over cosine of 2u. This would be y prime would equal 0 if what was 0? The numerator or the denominator? Numerator. If sine 2u equals 0. Where would that be if 2u equaled sine of 0 at ... dot 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 0 and pi, which is outside the limit. So that would be at u equals 0. Is u in the domain? Yeah, that's a critical number. Boom. Y prime would be equal to undefined, or undefined, not what's equal undefined, it's just that it is undefined, if the denominator is 0. Cosine of 2u equals 0. Where is cosine 0? Pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, negative pi over 2, and so on. So what would u be? Pi over 4. 3 pi over 4, is that in the domain? No. What about negative pi over 4? Yes. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's go to the last. Same kind of idea. You could take the derivative of 1 over sine and get the derivative of cosecant, which is negative cosecant cotangent. Hey, I don't know if you noticed, but the derivative of every one that starts with a c is negative. The derivative of cosine is negative. The derivative of cosecant is negative. Oops, too many negatives. The derivative of cotangent is negative. Oops. I am really having issues. Negative cosecant squared. All right. So it is important to me that you can do this on 2 levels. You can develop them on your own and understand where they come from, but you really also need to have them memorized. If you don't have them memorized, then if you get this problem and you don't have memorized that the derivative of cosecant is negative cosecant cotangent, you're going to stare at this wild stuff. I don't know. But if you know your derivatives, you know that is cosecant. Okay? So it is important that you have both levels, understanding and memorization. Understood? Great, great. You're a fiery bunch today. So here's the deal. In terms of going over tests, I do them really 2 different ways. I've only done them 1 way so far, but I do them 2 different ways. Sometimes I allow you to do corrections for points back. That was like 2 weeks ago. I was supposed to give that to you. So, sometimes I do for points back, and I feel like some learning gets done, but I also sometimes do a redemption quiz. Redemption quiz, yes. It goes like this. On Friday, you will all get a quiz. One of the questions on the quiz will just be infinite rectangles, period. You're going to do infinite rectangles and show me you can do that. If you can't do infinite rectangles, you best review them by Friday, because it'll be on the quiz for sure. What will also be on the quiz is a subset of some of the same problems as we did here with minor modifications like number changes and such. The idea being that you show me that you learn, not that you can write corrections down by copying the A kid next to you on your paper, but that you actually learned how to do the problem. Now you can do it on your own. Now, that said, many of you, especially in this class, absolutely killed this test. It's kind of a waste of your time then to redo a question you already showed me you can do. So on that redemption quiz, you will not necessarily do every problem. You will only do the ones that you want to try to earn points back on. If you already killed that question, you stand nothing to gain by doing it again once, although you surely can if you like. The good news is on those redemption questions, you can only do better. If you weren't sure whether you could do better or not, you gave it a go, and it's just a terrible mess, then I'll just keep your original score and I'm done. But I would love for you to show me that, hey, I learned from my mistakes and I can do better. So, towards that end, I don't really have a plan. I'm going to work up here. You have the rest of the period or as much time as it takes to go over everything you missed on this and figure out and understand why you missed it, so that if you see that question again on Friday, you can kill that question and do better. Honors people, this might take very little time for you and that's actually, some of you, just so you're clear, there are people that have never taken calculus before. They're just kicking the crap out of this. I mean, just totally have it. And so good job to you too. It's not, I don't want to imply that it's only the honors people that are killing stuff. But my point is that it might not take you very long to go over your corrections, in which case you'll have a lot of time to work on them. Or you can help those around you. That would be awesome too. I will take this back at the end of the period. You may not take it with you. You may not have your phone out at any time and take pictures of this so you can review it later. It's learn from it now. And if you need more time, come in 7th hour or after school. Go over it more, but it stays with me. You're welcome.
No.
I haven't done homework in the class in months.
That's bad.
That's not good.
That's bad. There are, I just said it's pretty much on you, but there are really just two things that super tick me off that lots of people, and I'm saying more than half the people, messed up. All right? First one is on this page. Is on page 2, which might be whatever different color for you. Number 10. Read carefully, please. It says, which of these is a relative maximum value of the function? It does not say at what x value is there a maximum or minimum. It says, what is the maximum value of the function? So should you be getting an x or a y? A y, a value of the function. You should be finding where there's a max, but finding the y at that max. Second, number 11. 11, tick me off, okay? I will try and restrain myself, but just batten down the hatches, baby, because here we go. 11 is not a big calculus. In fact, it's not a calculus question at all. It's a minor pre-calculus question. I put it on the test as a homework issue, okay? This was on the homework 3 times at minimum. And there were people that did it wrong over and over and over. And I wrote the notes. No, you have the wrong idea. And people say, okay, I got a 9, and never look at jack, nothing. Why do I waste my time? If you missed 11, you're not learning from the homework. That ticks me off, okay? So you best go over that, because I can guarantee you that'll be on the quiz on Friday. Please let me know if I can help you, but I can tell you if you are one of the people that approached it this way, here's the roots, add 8 to get the y-intercept, you are just full of it. That's crap. Okay, that shifts the graph up, totally ruins the roots. The x-intercept, the y-intercept is not 8, it's 2. It's wrong on so many levels. Okay, you do not achieve the y-intercept by shifting it. You achieve it by stretching it. We've talked about that and talked about it. All right, it is on you to just learn from your mistakes. I will walk around and help you, help each other. There's a lot of brilliant people in this class that can help you, maybe say it in a better way than I say it. So please figure it out. When you're done looking it over, just put it up to the side. I'd rather get them all at once rather than figure out who I did get it and didn't get it from. So just put it up to the side. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh, really? By how much? He did his help. I got 109 on the text. So you vote a percent. So 1% was like a 92 or something. So I got a 92 as an 80. Which is like 100.
Road or Wyatt took off, please let me know. I know that's those.
Yeah, that's.
Here's how you find it. That's where you put it away. These, that's meant to be something.
Yeah.
You put in the grade book.
Sorry. Can I ask you all to make one correction of mine really quick? Would you go to the title of the test, scratch out 3, and call it test 4, which it actually is. It's test 4, not test 3. This is easy. Sorry, that's the actual. Yeah, that's my bad. I mislabeled the test. Yes.
Yeah, so, thank you. So here's what happens here. So when you do this thing, that's what that is expanded, and then that equals this.
So I would say it's like the number of tests.
And then, somehow I said, let me see, I took like a bunch of things, but I didn't just show it. Okay, I'll come back. All right, I think I will get it.
Yeah, customers aren't in the restaurant. That's what I mean. Yes. Food. Wait. All right, what is this Friday, you said?
Oh, Ryan, I remember. So, this, So I was thinking, what value, what do we multiply this by such that I can this? Or such that I can create. Yeah, oh yeah, that's exactly what such that I can move it to this. So, I multiply, you have to multiply by only 11 over 6. This by what, negative 11. You multiply all of it by negative 11. So that 11 over 6. So yeah, the 6 cancel negative, so then it's positive. So these remain the 11 over 6.
Not last night, no.
So it's
I'll put them on my
it's
house.
about finding what you have to multiply. Like what, you're finding what the spread is.
So what is negative a billion squared or negative?
I spent a lot of
A
time.
billion squared is a negative billion squared. This is so here's the deal. By virtue of the lot losing that one, in my mind, this is by for the most part. I feel like sine of y equals 0 is not the relation to me. I already have it. You already showed me. So this is supposed to be sine of y equals 1, or this pi over 2 is 3 pi over 2, and this is the statement telling me. And that's from the state university. Yeah, these are, I probably should have this also about so the thing is that while your calculus is fantastic, it's not necessarily using if you can get two variables, either so you should, some cases you have to be, there is a script, but in some you can't. In this case, if water will always
By the way, I can read the change in volume.
will always have that proportion
I'm reading about it because I work on the This was pretty
I changed my mind. I will.
This is my route, and this is
It's not a.
Put that into.
Real radiant. And then I'm just gonna say make default.
Do that. So,
Yeah, your document. So now I just make default, so you Is that gonna be all the time? What am I doing wrong?
I haven't taken it back yet, like, well, straight
I wrote down your list.
Oh, that's my, oh, that is.
I'm on this side.
So, yeah.
Because I never done it.
You brought up Mark Ward. AP, it should be 2. So, yeah, so when
I
you.
thought I was. You were kind of an idiot.
It should be over 4. So, yeah, I think 64. Okay.
Hi, I have a question. My question is, why am I supposed to?
Just keep your, yeah, it does pretty good. You just keep yours, guys read reading.
This,
Yes.
so it means one added to itself n times. Why is this? Oh, I just choose that. Right, yeah. No, times one n. So you bring it, why add one to itself n times.
I mean, 90, unless I'm working.
Somewhere along those
Yeah, well, that's a good question.
Did you close on?
I'll take it to 15.
Yeah.
Makes me feel so bad.
Okay.